The bright lights of Las Vegas, Nevada. Look at the Strip downtown. City that never met a hotel they didn't like.
And they're building a new arena there. At least one, maybe two. We'll get into that in the second half.
66-39 as we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Time now for the AT&T highlights.
LeBron James along the baseline. Nice defensive rotation by the Virgin Islands. But then the USA team out in transition. Everybody getting involved. The touch passes back and forth. Once again, LeBron throwing it down. Movement without the ball was exemplary. The camaraderie between LeBron and Carmelo Anthony, who's able to finish strong at the hoop despite the foul. Both teams getting to the free throw line and able to convert there.
Look at the big three. Carmelo Anthony in 13 minutes got 17 points. Kobe Bryant with a quiet 5 tonight, but he does have 3 assists. LeBron James with 11 minutes on the floor tonight and 6 points. And not shown up there on the screen, Michael Redd had 15 points. All 15 of the points, Bill, coming in the last part of the first period.
He had a 3.5 minute stretch where he had 15 points. That is Wilt Chamberlain-esque. But then we never really saw him again, as Krzyzewski has such a arsenal to draw from. And he's not going to wear anybody out, because not only do they have to play 10 games in 12 days, there's an NBA season that starts their training camp on October 1st, and these guys have obligations there as well.
Well, the United States not the only team getting ready for major competitions, participating in other games. Spain recently playing against Germany, and Juan Carlos Navarro, now the Memphis Grizzlies, leading the way with 18. Dirk Nowitzki had 14 points. France defeating Portugal. Tony Parker back from that ankle injury. He had 21 points. Boris Diaw got the team's insurance and clearance to play from the Suns. He had 4. Slovenia defeating Italy. Andrea Bargnani coming back from actually Lithuania, pardon me, defeating Italy. Bargnani coming back from a back injury, but getting back to Spain real quick, right? Some interesting news today out of Toronto. Jose Garbajosa will not be allowed to play. The Raptors not clearing Jorge Garbajosa to play because of that somewhat gruesome injury that he suffered against the Celtics earlier this year.
Hopefully, Garbajosa will be able to get all the way better, but it's going to take a long time. These injuries are just brutal. Those scores were from a friendly series of tournaments. The European qualifying, which is going to get underway shortly in Spain, it's the European counterpart to what we have here in Las Vegas, the FIBA Tournament of the Americas.
Eurobasket getting underway September the 3rd in Spain, and the Spanish team and some of the team players from Spain that I've had a chance to speak with really looking forward to getting things back to where they were a season ago when they won the World Championships, and doing it on home soil.
They play a beautiful style, and they were able to win that championship without the services of Pau Gasol, who had broken his foot in the semifinal match. But Greece, after beating the United States, they failed to show up in the gold medal game.
And that's being nice. Here's a look at the teams that have already qualified for the Olympic Games. China gets in as the host nation. Spain gets in as the winner of the World Championships last year. And Iran winning the Asia zone because China already got in.
It's only a 12-team tournament. So 9 spots still to be determined, and you would have to think that the United States would get one of those. But when you look at the Virgin Islands first half scoring, Krauser, we've talked about him at the top. He led the team with 9. Edwin had 9 as well. Shepard had 7. Reimer had 7. And with the Virgin Islands outscoring the United States in the second quarter by 26-24, you have to believe they have the confidence right now to try to make this a more competitive game.
LeBron James with great defensive rotation, coming up with the steal. Kobe Bryant with the reverse. And Kobe with some pyrotechnics on the reverse layup. 71-39. We talked just a few moments ago about how he had a pretty quiet first half, but Kobe Bryant celebrating his 29th birthday today with a sweet layup for the score. And we talked about yesterday, Bill, the fact that he has really dedicated himself to getting in prime condition. Kobe Bryant, look at him, folks. He has lost 18 pounds since the end of his regular season with the Los Angeles Lakers. He says, interesting, he talked about mortality a little bit, said, hey, I'm pushing up on 30 now. The metabolism isn't what it used to be, and Kobe Bryant has always been the type of guy, admittedly, that has been able to get away with eating whatever he wanted to. Pizza, ice cream, hamburgers, all the fun stuff, Bill. But now it's a steady regimen of baked chicken and fish and greens.
But a year ago, he professed to have bulked up to carry a heavier load. This year, it's a different story. And that's really been the story of Kobe Bryant's career. Every single season, it has been some other focus, some other outside element that's defined who he is, and that's one of the major reasons why this, at age 29, is the first time he's ever been able to put on the United States jersey.
Kobe Bryant recently, and within the span of 24 hours this summer, said that first he wanted to be traded by the Los Angeles Lakers, then recanted the majority of those statements, and during the course of this USA Senior Men's National Basketball Team camp and tournament, he has refused in large part to comment on that situation, not wanting to detract from the focus here for the American team.
I can't imagine the Lakers trading. Who are you going to get for him?
Not value, that's for sure.
Well, maybe Steve Nash, but Steve is well into his 30s. Tim Duncan, San Antonio's not trading him. LeBron James, is Cleveland going to trade a 6 or 7 year younger LeBron James for Kobe Bryant, who might not enjoy making that move from Los Angeles to Cleveland?
Here's a look at the foul called against the USA. Kevin Shepard driving to the bucket.
But that was tremendous defense by LeBron James on the wing.
Kevin Shepard, the 27-year-old, averaging 5 points a game in the recent Pan Am games that they played in. Played professional basketball this past season in Venezuela as well as Argentina.
Played his college basketball at Jacksonville University, same place as the legend Artis Gilmore.
Quickly up court, the United States, and there is the Phoenix Suns influence that Mike D'Antoni perhaps has imparted on the USA. The fact that they run out after a make, Bill.
How interesting, though, for all these players to come and play in this wide open freelance style. I'm shocked that this basket doesn't count.
It might have in the NBA with the N1.
And then from this, under D'Antoni and Nate McMillan, the NBA guys, then they go back to their regular teams, and their coach is saying, slow it down, call some plays.
Kobe fouled on his move to the bucket. The United States national team continues pool play in the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship through this weekend. Join us Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as the United States takes on Canada and finishes out pool play on Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. That's the big one against Brazil. All games also available on ESPN360.com. It's the 2007 FIBA Americas Championship on the ESPN family of networks. That Brazil game going to be very, very interesting. They've got Nene and Leandro Barbosa both playing for Brazil, and Thiago Splitter has looked particularly well so far. A big man, about 6'10", an NBA draft pick by the San Antonio Spurs. Splitter played his European professional basketball in Spain, arguably the best league outside of the NBA, Bill.
It used to be Italy, but it's shifted over to Spain, and Splitter, as Kobe Bryant was serenaded by the fans on his 29th birthday here. It is so nice to see Kobe smiling, but people raving about Splitter. I have not had the privilege of seeing him play yet, but all the coaches for the United States just saying this guy, he has really been a force. And Leandro Barbosa, who had 30 points in their first game for Brazil.
Right now, Bill, you can pick up the vibe a little bit. To hear the chorus, the fans moments ago singing happy birthday to Kobe Bryant. On this, the day that he turns 29. Good defensive help by Dwight Howard. And here's the United States in transition. Jason Kidd back to Carmelo Anthony. Inside, Howard fouled. And speaking with some of the players, they say that Dwight Howard is, quote unquote, they've got new vernacular. He's beasting people. He is just a beast inside, and brings up a point that we were talking about during the break, Bill. Interior scoring. The United States was hurt by interior scoring against Greece in the loss last year in the World Championships. Conversely, Does the United States team have enough of that interior scoring at the other end?
This is not the type of roster, big man-wise, that has players in the lineage of Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, Hakeem Olajuwon, 4 of the 5 greatest centers to ever play basketball. These players are... Now, throw Tyson Chandler out, who's not an offensive factor at all.
Okay.
But Amari Stoudemire, Dwight Howard put up good numbers. But they're more dunkers. They're more finishers off other people's creativity. These are not the type of players, Howard and Stoudemire, who you just say, okay, post them up, give them the ball, run a post split on the ball side, run a down screen or a back screen on the weak side, and say, okay, let's run our offense through that. And that could very easily be a liability for this United States team. Oh, that shot banked in.
Victor knocks it down, and there are going to be times, maybe not this tournament, but next year in the Olympics, provided the United States earns one of the 2 spots here, that they might have to throw it down on the block and get something out of a Dwight Howard or an Amari Stoudemire.
But it's emblematic of the decline of the big man in basketball in general.
Anthony with the bucket.
And with Dwight Howard and Amari Stoudemire both choosing to forego an opportunity to play college basketball. Tim Duncan, the great big man, the greatest big man in the game today, along with Shaquille O'Neal. Between the 2 of them, they had 7 years of college basketball. 4 for Tim at Wake Forest and 3 for Shaq at LSU.
And Jason Kidd knocks it out of bounds off of the Virgin Islands Elliger. And it's coming back the other way to the United States. Jason Kidd, once again, ubiquitous. He is everywhere. And that pass was everywhere.
Passed it to himself. Come on.
Kobe from downtown coming up a little bit short. Out of bounds. Been a slow night offensively for Kobe Bryant. There's Tavester Anderson, the head coach of the Virgin Islands. Currently the head coach at Jacksonville University.
Kobe seemed a little bit more determined to get some shots up in this 3rd quarter.
He's always had a pretty good trigger. And here he is with Jason Kidd on the break.
He put that off the board.
LeBron James for the finish.
You can see that coming.
The lead is 34 points for the United States. Cruising once again.
Jason Kidd poking it away.
Boy, Jason Kidd filling his hat with steals. Kobe had it knocked away by Carl Krauser out of bounds. It'll be United States basketball. This is a team certainly lethal in transition, as shown there. But what happens, the question begs, what happens when a team limits possessions because of the shorter clock? It's only a 40-minute game as opposed to 48. What happens when you've got a shorter game?
And a team that shoots the ball well, which neither Venezuela or the Virgin Islands have done. There's another lob pass.
That one for Dwight Howard with the slam. We've got about 8 or 9 screensavers / Sports Center moments already here in the ball game. Krauser a little bit strong. Kidd on the push.
I'm excited about looking at the opportunity of Dwight Howard playing for Stan Van Gundy, who I think is just a top-tier coach. A new coach in Orlando. They're going to get a new building down there, so everyone in Central Florida just ecstatic about the direction of Orlando, which for a while there was a question whether they'd even remain in the state of Florida.
Carmelo Anthony at the free throw line with the United States leading 80-44. You think about the journey of Carmelo Anthony after the 2004 Olympic experience, Bill, which was very impropitious for him. He was seen and perceived, true or otherwise, as a bit of a malcontent in Athens while playing for Larry Brown on that team. But the following year, after they were eliminated by the San Antonio Spurs, the day after, remember this story, he called up Steve Hess, the Denver Nuggets strength and conditioning coach, said, "Steve, take me out on a run." They went and worked out. He got his body in shape. He dropped about 15 pounds, and he has been a different Carmelo Anthony ever since, really peaking, maybe not, with the World Championship performance last summer.
Well, there were nothing but problems on that Athens Olympic team, on the 2002 Indianapolis World Championship team, which is why they have come with a whole new program. They put Jerry Colangelo, the master administrator, in charge of the big picture. And things are completely different now.
Inside off the inbound pass. Virgin Islands forced to basically take every shot from outside. They're not getting anything near to the cup. Here's Anthony on the move.
Mark, what happens is that you've got the great shot blocker back there in Dwight Howard, and he doesn't have to guard his man. And so the other guys on the United States team, they're just out on the perimeter, and they're just daring the Virgin Islands to drive to the hoop, but they know they don't want to get packed or roofed, so they're just pulling the trigger against the hand in their face and the duress, and it's just not falling whatsoever. And Carmelo Anthony just working so determined to get to that hoop and finish, get to the trip to the free throw line. The Three Stooges defense, though, unable to slow Carmelo down.
Is that like a matchup zone defense?
What, the Three Stooges defense? No, that's where you poke him in the eyes.
Okay. Frank Elligar with the foul.
I don't know if you're old enough to have watched the Three Stooges.
I remember Larry Curley and Mo. 5:17 to go here in the third quarter of play. The United States in the lead. Carmelo Anthony, the high scorer for the United States with 21 points. Michael Redd did an outstanding job in the first half for the United States. He had 15 points, all coming in the first quarter of play as Tayshaun Prince comes in for Melo. Tayshaun Prince, one of 2 Detroit Pistons on the squad. And
while we have a little lull in the action here, I'd like to just give our best wishes to the Van Bredikoff family, because Butch Van Bredikoff, the legendary coach, passed away today at 84 years of old. I mean, this was a guy who was still coaching at 71 when he went back to Hofstra, but 13 different head coaching positions, including a high school coach at 61 years of age. He played 4 seasons for the Knicks. Butch Van Bredikoff, he coached Bill Bradley, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Pistol Pete Maravich. He made this world a better place, and we are the worse off with his passing.
Well said, Bill. Chauncey Billups knocks down the 3 ball. The United States in control. LeBron James with an education in elevation. Back with more. (86-44) with 4:50 to go in the third quarter, and why not smile, Amari Stoudemire? His team up big time here.
I was a little concerned coming into this game that the Virgin Islands might have trouble scoring the 30 points that the Texas Rangers put up in baseball last night, but they have come alive here, and the United States really has not played as well in the second and third quarters that they played in the first quarter. And a major problem in this 7-year decline of USA basketball, a nice 12-0 run for the United States in the last 3 minutes, has been that in the tournaments they generally start really well. Another turnover for the Virgin Islands. They start really well, the United States does, and then they get overconfident, they get complacent, they get lax in their preparation, and things start to slip and slide in the downward slippery slope, and all of a sudden you're playing against Greece, or you're playing against Lithuania, or you're playing against Argentina with a great point guard who gets hot, controls the flow. And that's why Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups have been added this year, to not let any of that creep in.
They've played with conviction from the opening tip in both games so far. A good sign if you're looking at a trend. Stoudemire missing the easy one underneath. Won't miss that one, though. The stick back for Amari Stoudemire. It's 90-44. Stoudemire, you think about where and how far he has come in the last year, coming off of 2 knee surgeries in a little over a year, with a microfracture surgery on one knee, and then had a cleaning out process, a scope on the other knee. Unable to play a year ago at this time because of the rehab process, and it's a little slow to bounce back from that second one, Bill, but now looking very fine.
And with the United States doubling up plus the score on the Virgin Islands, Amari Stoudemire can work on his skill game as opposed to the power game. And that's really the next step for both Dwight Howard and Amari Stoudemire, is to get to that point. And their role models offensively should be Akeem Olajuwon and Kevin McHale. They don't have the overwhelming size that Shaq, Kareem, Wilt had, and they need to get to that point where that, hey, when they're going to play against Shaq, because Shaq, I would anticipate Shaq's going to play, what, 4 or 5 more years?
He's got 3 years left on his contract in Miami, and said that he's going to play them out.
So they're going to have to be able to ultimately beat him, to try to beat Tim Duncan, who's going to play a lot more years. And so if they want to be the champions, they're going to have to get that game that Olajuwon and McHale had, which was total skill and able to beat guys who were bigger, stronger, faster, could jump higher. And that's when you know you're really playing ball. Great alley.
Nice play up top, but unable to convert. As Cuthbert Victor. Here's Kobe Bryant, kicks it out to Mike Miller.
Nice ball movement. They waved that one off with the offensive foul.
Not often you see Mike Miller put it on the deck. He had an open jump shot and elected to drive instead.
His ankle certainly appears to be fine. There was some serious concern by the coaching staff, and an easy play to call with the left arm clear out.
Sixth man of the year a couple of seasons ago in the NBA. 8th year with the Memphis Grizzlies. Mike Miller has played in Orlando before being traded to Memphis. On the baseline, it's Cuthbert Victor again, fouled going to the bucket. Saw Mike Krzyzewski there on the sidelines a few moments ago. And Bill, this is not the first time that he has been involved with coaching the USA men's senior national team. He's been an assistant coach prior to taking over as the head coach last season for the World Championships. And I had an interesting discussion with one Kenny Anderson, former NBA player, who played on the 1990 World Championship team for the senior men's national team. And that, interestingly enough, was the last time that it was a group of collegians that would represent the United States. Because Kenny was telling me he very much remembers losing to the Croatians that summer in the Goodwill Games and in the World Championships. And after that, it was on. That's when, you know, as you mentioned the name yesterday, Boris Stankovic was instrumental in giving birth to the whole Dream Team concept. Bucket good by Amari Stoudemire.
Well, that 1990 team in the FIBA World Championship, they took the bronze medal with a 6-2 record. But Krzyzewski has coached them all. He's coached the Olympic festivals, the World University Games, the Goodwill Games, the Pan American Games, the FIBA Championships, America Championships like this one a long time ago. He was an assistant coach on the initial Dream Team.
Miller off the mark, rebounded by the Virgin Islands and Akeem Francis.
And all the while winning 3 NCAA championships at Duke, making it to the Hall of Fame already, and being the winningest coach in terms of number of games won career-wise in the history of the NCAA tournament.
Nice move by Mike Miller, tapped out of bounds by the Virgin Islands, but let's make no doubt about it. If he's not able to deliver a gold medal in the Olympics, his reputation is on the line here, Mike Krzyzewski, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of basketball, is that everyone's reputation is on the line every single game.
Stoudemire with the rebound off the red miss, and Amari Stoudemire taking it strong to the bucket. And will earn himself a couple of free throws. Stat is the nickname for Amari Stoudemire. Standing tall and talented, a self-professed and self-made manufactured acronym, and quite accurate, I would say. Aaron Williams checking into the ball game with 1:06 to go in the third quarter.
Utah, a team that made such great progress last year. Haven't really heard much about them this summer other than them allowing Derek Fisher to go to the Lakers, which was stunning to me, because you know, Derek Fisher says one day I'm retiring from basketball to go and take care of my ill daughter, and then 10 days later signs with the Lakers, his old team, where he won 3 world champions or NBA championships.
I think he wanted to, the goal was to look for an environment that was conducive for the best medical help. Shepard driving to the bucket is fouled. Will get a chance for the three-point play, but Darren Williams really with the coming out part of this year in the backcourt for the Utah Jazz. Utah had that very fast start to the season, then kind of lost their steam a little bit. They incurred a bunch of injuries. Carlos Boozer, though, mostly unlike the previous 2 seasons, played most of the season, able to stay healthy most of the way, and before bowing out to the San Antonio Spurs. The Utah Jazz serving notice that they'll be set. They're on the right course and path for the next few years.
Well, they did get Morris Almond, a great young player, to try to replace Derek Fisher, but Derek Fisher is a championship level player, and a big question, what are you going to do with Andre Kirilenko, and will Memo Okur be able to play at the championship level the way he plays at the regular season level, where he was a well-deserved all-star this past season for the first time in his career.
Mari Stoudemire finishing off the alley-oop on the pass from Tayshaun Prince. 94-50, the United States in control from the opening tip. The USA will have tomorrow off before taking on Canada Saturday afternoon on ESPN2.
In a day game.
And that's going to be a problem, you think?
I prefer the day games.
Chauncey Billups out top.
I like to go to bed early.
There you go.
That's that Southern California upbringing. Get to bed early so you can get up and enjoy the next one.
Training. Tayshaun Prince. Time winding down. Prince couldn't get the bank shot to go. And that's the end of the third quarter of play. 30 minutes in the books here at the FIBA Tournament of the Americas Championship 2007 from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the middle of the desert. A place where perhaps the disembalming and disentombing of the gold medal hopes gets new life. Back after this. Back in Las Vegas, Nevada, the United States in control 94-50. Las Vegas, the site of last year's NBA All-Star Game. And what a weekend that was.
It's a fantastic.
Sure was. Kobe Bryant was the game's MVP. But one of the other highlights, Bill, at the celebrity game, I've never seen Carrot Top on the basketball court.
Really?
Yeah, he was there playing.
Not old enough to have seen me play?
I'm talking about the other Carrot Top.
Okay, so the United States is on pace to set their scoring record for the most points ever in a FIBA championship competition. Kobe Bryant is getting a little bit of ice on the knee. Would expect that with that sign, we will not see him again tonight. But in 1992, the first time the NBA players were allowed into the Olympics, the United States defeated Cuba 136-57, a 79-point victory. And that is the standard that was set early on, and we'll see if this squad tonight can come anywhere close.
94-50. It's interesting. You think back to the first play of Dream Team back in '92, and the stories are abound where when Magic Johnson was guarding a player from Lithuania at the Olympics, the Lithuanian players were yelling at the managers on the bench, "Take the picture, quick!"
Things
I'm guarding Magic, yeah. Now they don't look at us the same way. 96-50.
And that's because of the brilliance of Boris Stankovic and David Stern to realize that if they're going to grow the game globally, the Olympics, they should be for the best of the best. And the distinction between amateur and professionalism has totally disappeared. And you've got now Yao Ming from China, Yi from China, Dirk Nowitzki, the MVP of the regulars. A beautiful pass, Michael Red.
Red inside to Stoudemire, and stacked coming alive. Amari Stoudemire with the bucket, 98-50. Foul going to be called against Chauncey Billups. And the big three tonight, getting in a little bit of work before getting their rest. Carmelo with 17 points. Kobe with 22 points. Kobe with 9 and LeBron with 8.
Oh, Kobe Bryant only 4 shot attempts in 16 minutes. That's a remarkable stat in and of itself. One of the things that hurts the United States, Mark, is that when they're preparing for these tournaments, in the friendly games and scrimmages that they play, the other teams don't do them any favors, because they don't come out and try to win the game. They don't come out and try to prepare the United States. They just come out and just sort of lay down. So they don't play the zone defense.
Well, how do you get a good look? How do you assimilate what you're going to see outside of the United States getting a select team, and it's still not the same?
But that was a brilliant move again by Colangelo to figure that out, that the other teams weren't cooperating Red, the left-hander, using the right on the throwdown. But in all the games we've done over the decades in international basketball, in the exhibitions, so many of the opponents, they come out and they play NBA-style basketball to try to get their game going, where the United States needs teams to play controlled, slow down, physical, zone defense, great point guard play, pick and roll. So they come into these tournaments, and granted, Venezuela and the Virgin Islands don't have the talent, but the other good teams around the land, the Argentines, the Spaniards, the Brazilians, teams that actually have a legitimate chance of maybe, if things all break their way, have a chance to win. They're coming out and saying, this is how we play this game, which is a totally different game for the United States NBA game.
7:18 to go. A blown layup by Miller inside, and it's tip in good. 7:11 to play. Mike Miller for three. And Miller showing no ill effects from that tweak of his ankle that he suffered yesterday against Venezuela. Knocks down a three-pointer.
But the way the game is different in the international competition is that it's a more physical game, the zone defense, the almost complete emphasis on the point guard and three-point shooting, pick and roll, and then centers. Unlike what the United States has with Dwight Howard, Amari Stoudemire, and Tyson Chandler, more well-rounded, less physically gifted players who play the high post game and shooting, passing, screening.
Let me ask you this then, as LeBron hands it off to Darren Williams. Williams fires, comes up short. Chandler with the rebound. Why is it, though, that circa 1992 through 2000, the difference in the style between FIBA and NBA wasn't as much of a factor, yet it seems to be now?
Because the other teams have elevated their games because of the exposure. And all these youngsters around the world who were turning on their television sets and saying, wow, did you see Michael Jordan? Did you see Magic Johnson? Did you see Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson? Did you see Vince Carter and Jason Kidd and Kevin Garnett? And then they go out and they start practicing. And then as their game comes up, and the decline of some of the skills in the United States, with so few of the top players ever going to college and learning all the different things that the great historical players have done. And
there's Tyson Chandler
landing on LeBron's foot there, and we can only hope that he's okay. And Byron Scott, I'm sure, with his heart in his throat right now,
he's thinking shut him down for the rest of the night. 5:38 to go, 106-54. I'm Mark Jones along with Bill Walton. Las Vegas, Nevada, the site for the Tournament of the Americas. The United States moving the ball well all night long, deep into the Vegas night.
What a
21 points now from Michael Redd in the ball game.
The length of the court, right down the seam of the retreating defense. LeBron James, he has been superb throughout. He and Carmelo Anthony and Michael Redd have been the best players tonight.
I guess his ankle's okay after that block. Tyson Chandler.
But generally, you want to keep those blocks in play. Yes, everybody goes crazy, yell and cheer in the stands, but all it does is give the Virgin Islands a chance to run a set play out of bounds. Learn from Bill Russell, the master teacher.
Under 5 minutes to go. The United States will have tomorrow off and then take on Canada on Saturday. Here's Michael Redd inside. Nice feed to Miller, and Miller had it blocked at the rim.
Wild play by the Virgin Islands.
Things a little bit sloppy right now, and that's being nice. Miller finishes it off with the slam. You know, I'm going to bring this up, Bill.
But first, you've got a timeout. Okay. Yeah, the Virgin Islands are falling apart. I'm sorry, Mark. We'll get to your point right when we come back.
Natural segue to a break. We'll be back with more right after this. With a berth to the Olympics, and most recently, Australia defeating New Zealand recently to qualify and punch their ticket. So now 4 teams are in. China, Spain, Iran, joining Australia.
And one of the reasons why the Americas tournament get 2 qualifiers is because of the expected domination of the United States, and they don't want to just automatically eliminate everyone else. Every other region only gets 1 automatic berth. The Americas get 2.
There's Darren Williams with the steal and great hustle to run it down. Kicks it out to Michael Redd. We're going to run a little offense. Darren Williams of the Utah Jazz, the 3rd string point guard on this team. But Jason Kidd has really taken Williams under his wing and taught him some of the subtle nuances of international basketball. And Williams cashes in with a baseline jumper from downtown.
The coaching staff for the United States are very impressed with the overall game of Darren Williams. The ability to shoot the mid-range shot, that long one from the corner, but also the rebounding, the defense for Darren Williams. And I would like to correct myself that Europe, because of their historical dominance, they also get 2 automatic bids. So, like the United States in this tournament, all you have to do in the Europe qualifier is make it to the finals, and then you're automatically seeded into the Olympics.
Under 3.5 minutes to go. Tayshaun Prince missing at the other end. Shot from downtown by Edwin off the mark, rebounded by Michael Redd. And Bill, a point that I was getting to before we went to commercial, somehow along the way, European style or international style has become equated with, perversely I think, team basketball, yet NBA somehow conjures up images of one-on-one break them down basketball. If I'm an NBA player and I've heard echoes of this sentiment, it comes as an affront, and it's a little insulting, frankly, to them. Perception becomes reality.
And what's happened is the NBA game has gone more to the guy who has the ball is looking to make his own play, as opposed to the point guard like a Steve Nash trying to set somebody up, like a Lenny Wilkins or a Magic Johnson. Now, the United States coaches, particularly Greg Popovich, has used that as a motivational tool over the years to say, hey, look, who are we? How did we get here? And where are we going? As everyone yucking it up on the bench and waiting for the crowd to sing happy birthday to Kobe.
Back in 2003, when the United States drilled Argentina in this tournament of the Americas, beat them by 33 points in the finals, they were frankly tired of listening to Popovich, I'm told, talk about how well the Argentines played as a team, and they really put it on Argentina as a result. And that's the same Argentina team that next year, in 2004, went on to win the gold medal, due in part to the fact that only 3 players from the American team ended up making the trip to Athens because of, quote-unquote, personal and security reasons.
But that United States team in Athens, they lost 3 games. They lost the opener to Puerto Rico, where Carlos Arroyo just torched them. Then they lost to Lithuania, where Šarūnas Jasikevičius lit them up. And then you had Manu Ginobili, who is, when he's on his game, as great a lead player as there is in the world today.
Pass out of bounds. Red trying to get it over to Miller. We're going to take a timeout. With the clock winding down.
And Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups were not there in Athens.
Back with more after this. Well, the largest margin of victory ever for the United States team is 79 points dating back to 1992. Right now, they lead by 61 points, and that would come up as the 2nd largest margin of victory ever. Panama lost by 60 to the U.S. That stands as number 2 right now. The margin in this one, 61.
As the gap has narrowed between the United States and the rest of the world.
Although you can't tell by the score.
No. but the Virgin Islands are ranked 38th in the world. And things are going to change this weekend, playing Canada and Brazil back-to-back in the afternoon day games, where they're number 15 and 16, Canada and Brazil. But in the 92 Olympics, the average margin of victory was 44 points per game. 4 years later, it's down to 32 points per game. 4 years later in Sydney, it's down to 21 points per game. And then in Athens 4 years later, and just 3 years ago, the average margin of victory, even though the United States lost 3 games there, was 4.5 points per game. The times, they're changing. You better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. Tyson
Chandler with a nice follow off the Tayshaun Prince miss with 34 seconds to go. And there's a theory out there still, Bill, and some people buy into it, some don't, that if Vince Carter were on the team,
on this team here,
yes, and no slight to the guys that are on this team right now, but Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Kevin Garnett, Shaquille O'Neal still a force, how much different would it be? There are those that believe it would be like the old days. There are those that believe that the world is caught up a little bit still.
These players are more than capable of setting all the records they wanted.
I'm with you.
It still comes down to you have to respect the opposition. The United States, they came out on the opening tap and got it done, set a tone early, and able to just cruise to an easy
victory. The United States puts $1.23 on the board against the Virgin Islands, the second largest margin of victory ever for Team USA, as the United States improves now to 2-0 and sit atop the standings in Group B. As we update the standings, and Brazil at 1-0. They've only played one game. Canada at 1-1. Canada the next opponent for the United States. That game on Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. The Virgin Islands dropping to 0-1. Venezuela still winless. We'll be back with more to wrap it up right after this. Stick around. And welcome back, everyone, to the Thomas and Mack Center. The United States defeating the Virgin Islands 123-59. They were in control from the opening tip. The United States improving to 2-0. They'll have tomorrow off, then come back Saturday against Canada. Time now for the higher player and play of the game.
A lot to choose from. Dwight Howard gets it going, and then Michael Redd beautifully sets it up for LeBron, who had so many throwdowns. LeBron James tonight, just 8 points in 18 minutes. Kobe Bryant, a very quiet 9 points, but it was Michael Redd with 22 points in only 19 minutes, and Carmelo Anthony always atop the leaderboard in points, 22 points in 17 minutes for Carmelo. Tayshaun Prince, 13 rebounds. Impressive performance by the United States tonight.
And one of the stats not shown up there, the United States, Bill Walton, shooting 15 of 30 from three-point territory, something that has been a bit of a concern in past seasons with the United States senior men's national team, but not tonight and not yesterday when they shot 38% from downtown.
The United States played their best basketball in the first quarter tonight, and then after that they just cruised, and it was a series of highlight films. Carmelo Anthony was blistering early on. Kobe Bryant met no resistance the few times he did go to the hoop on his birthday. And Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, everybody getting involved. Jason Kidd, how much fun to play with him.
I know what Kobe Bryant got for his birthday. He got the Virgin Islands as a present. The final score, 123-59. Join us Saturday afternoon as the United States takes on Canada 3. There's been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader of sports. For Bill Walton, our entire gang, I'm Mark Jones saying good night from Las Vegas with a little string music to send you on your way.